Welcome to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today we're going to try to answer one of the most important questions. Has TikTok made our generation stupid? Or we're not stupid and TikTok has nothing to do with this? Let's dive deeper and try to connect different dots. This was an unwritten rule for TikTok specifically, that you scroll, find some product or influencer, create a bond or parasocial relationship with this person, buy the product from them from TikTok shop, then probably hate this product, go into controversy with this influencer, listen to their apology, forget about their apology, and keep on scrolling and repeat the cycle. And I don't really think that this spell of not thinking critically is wearing off. But why? I do think this is a problem of harsh economy and the problem that we see right now where influencers are becoming richer and you're becoming poor. I would say I filmed a podcast a couple of weeks ago where I try to answer the question of a parasocial capitalism, capitalism in general. Why are you poor? Maybe you're not poor, but creating a generalization. Why are you poor and your favorite influencer is rich? And I try to answer this question. In today's video, we try to answer a little bit different question. Why are we so stupid and why aren't we using critical thinking? And who should we blame? Because in today's economy and in today's TikTok, a lot of the times James Charles and lipstick lesbians, they became, even Patrick Tatsay, they became these influencers. They're trying to get an apology. They try different versions of those apologies, but none of them are working. And why? Why aren't they working? Let's dive deeper. But first, I want to talk about the life cycle of any platform. At first, it was YouTube, 2010, probably a little bit earlier. I know that YouTube started their journey in 2006, if I'm mistaken. The first video was uploaded, or 2005. But in 2010, people were on the YouTube, and there was an platform for every single person. Everyone were interested in YouTube. We could find a lot of interesting information because where TV was dying, because they were showing old shows and old videos, films, YouTube was offering so much more, something that you could easily find related to your specific hobbies. But later, then we saw a pivot into Instagram. Instagram was not for tutorials. It was not for learning. It was more about showcasing your life, what restaurant you visited, about aesthetics, about how you can dress, how you can create makeups. It wasn't all about tutorials. It was more about, again, aesthetics. And then 2020 hit, the pandemic hit. And TikTok, that was launched in 2016, it wasn't really successful, hit the market because people needed to find some new products to spend their money. They were not wasting money on the road. They were not wasting money on gas. They were not wasting money on some restaurants, and they had some spare income because they were staying at home. That was the main reason why TikTok was really handy at this point. There were some new fresh faces, and this drama that hit YouTube in 2019 with James Charles, Tati Westbrook, and Jeffree Star, people were not interested in a long-form content, in a drama. TikTok was offering something that you can scroll past, this instant dopamine vibe from watching some influencer or TikToker that was sharing some videos, and that was it for them. Endless scrolling, lowering critical thinking, instant dopamine. But what has changed from 2020 to 2026? When you have a lot of stakeholders, you have to satisfy the corporate machine. And the only way is to monetize. That is the main reason why it's so much harder to get views on TikTok now. It's so much harder to become famous in TikTok. And it's so much harder to stay on this app without any commercial. It's either going to be commercial from your favorite influencer or it's going to be commercial from TikTok shop. Basically, this is super commercialized app as it is right now Instagram, as it is YouTube, and as it is TikTok. But what has TikTok done in a different direction if we try to compare to other platforms? TikTok is a perfect example of QVC, or home shopping. In 90s or 2000s, maybe you were too small to remember, maybe you were a teenager back in the day, but I remember lying in bed with my mom watching some TV shows where someone was screaming at us, is like, this is the final offer, we're getting a discount, we have 2 more products, who's gonna grab this final product, you need that. And I remember that we bought a couple of the shitty products from China for some outrageous money from this home shopping. TikTok has created this, let's say, version of home shopping, but with your favorite influencer, with parasocial relationships. Your favorite influencers is sharing a little bit of their story, sharing a little bit of their private life, and then they try to offer some of the products. Look at Michaela Nogueira. She is constantly when she's pushing the product, when she's trying to get you the product, she's screaming and her voice is high pitched and she's like, okay, these new lipsticks, is it working? And she's making the face, she's screaming at you. And that is the main reason why this is a home shopping, but in a modern package.
What is this? This is the newest skincare trend? It's a silk peptide threads from Sunboon Editor. It's essentially liquid gold in a bottle.
What has upgraded? Hyper-targeted commercial that is personalized to you and the illusion of a friendship with your favorite influencer. And that's how TikTok operates. Psychological studies show that when you scroll passive scrolling on TikTok or any other platforms, your critical thinking is lowering and you are not effectively choosing some products. While you're in this cognitive state of not thinking clearly, you can buy something from a TikTok shop that gets into your app over and over again, and you don't really have time to ask a question: do I need this? Do I actually need this product? And that is the main reason why law system is coming to a rescue. Though the market is oversaturated, they're still managing to sell you a product, and most likely 40% of the viewers are going to buy the product that were recommended by TikTok shop or their favorite influencer. That is the main reason why on the 15th of June 2026, the Florida State Attorney General James Yuthmir, he filed a massive lawsuit against TikTok. And this was specifically targeted on teenagers, where sometimes TikTok is allowing teenagers to create their accounts without parents' permission, and they're under 14 or 15, and that is the main reason why it's not legal in certain states. The lawsuit explicitly is talking about the language or the certain buttons that TikTok is implementing, such as addictive by design features or the unlimited scrolling, automatic video playback, as well as non-stop push notifications. But it's really interesting. Florida Attorney General stated, "Our evidence suggests that so many kids are on TikTok for upwards of 6, 7, 8 or more hours a day. We are going to get our kids their lives back." I'm like, where do they have time? Like 7, 8 hours a day? That's a full working day. But these are teenagers and they're just like doing nothing and they're scrolling and they have no critical thinking at this moment. Sometimes TikTok is misleading parents, and at some point certain content that is specifically designed for adults, they are not flagging or showing this content as for adults. They write as mild or infrequent. That is the main reason why it is creating an illusion that this content is appropriate for teenagers or kids, and that is not true, because most likely this is not a mild or infrequent content. This is an adult content. That is the main reason why, if you feel like your brain is playing tricks on you, or if you are in a massive conspiracy theory, you might be onto something. You're not alone. In March of 2026, if I'm not mistaken, March of 2026, there was another lawsuit against Meta and some other huge companies, IT companies, and they even won a lawsuit of $6 million, which is basically nothing, that they were violating teenager privacy or teenager accounts without their parents' permission to create accounts and to rule accounts on TikTok or any other platforms, such as Meta platforms. Let's talk about the evolution of accountability. Let's talk about the apology videos that we see a lot nowadays. But why aren't these apology videos not working anymore? I would say that when at first it was very popular, especially on YouTube, to see in front of camera, sign into camera, to say that they regret their behavior with a messy bun, no makeup, people, they believed in this up until a certain point, and then mistakes were going over and over again, especially with James Charles. And for a reason, people stopped believing influencers that they are apologizing. And because of this low critical thinking and this constant scrolling, TikTok realized the best way to create not even apology video but content and algorithm is rewarding people for rage baiting. Do you remember when James Charles, he was filming some live stream or something like this, and he called someone fatty, and instead of blocking him or going into this controversy, he was laughing at people's face? And then some other influencers or some other people, they were like, yeah, if you're super sensitive, then get out of this platform. People were like, what is going on? Normal people, I would say, or people with critical thinking, they were like, what is going on? He literally accused people in being overweight or like just making inappropriate comment, and he was getting a support. And you're like, what is going on? Because TikTok is rewarding this type of content, and when other influencers, they're supporting James Charles in return, they're getting more rage bait content and more followers and more comments, and that is the main reason they're becoming viral. And that is the algorithm, let's say, not even a glitch, but the way that influencers, they started doing their channels. But up until the point of 2026, then again, harsh economy is playing tricks on people's mind, and they're making people to turn on their brain once again. So let's talk about Jacqueline Hill. In December, if I'm not mistaken, of 2025 or early 2026, she was complaining about her views, that she's not getting as much views as she used to. And people are like, we're so tired of your irrelevant content because we don't have money as much as you do. And we're tired to see how you spend thousands, if not millions of dollars on some random shoes, bags, houses, and whatsoever. Then we saw James Charles, who was renting over and over again, and he was accusing people and being fatty and whatever. And then when he tried to do the same type of stunt as he always does, he hit the nerve because the Spirit Airlines, they went bankrupt. And this whole drama, this whole situation was not this time about some random girl who was called fatty. It was about personal people who are followers of James Charles and who might not visit their friends and family for a decent price because Spirit Airlines went bankrupt. Or maybe parents or friends, they work for this company and now they're unemployed and they have nothing to provide to the table. Or maybe there's another issue where they are the employees of this bankrupt company and now they were in the same, let's say, in the same position as this girl that was called fatty, that was neglected, was not appreciated, and was called stupid because most likely someone can find a job for a long period of time, and James Charles was calling out this girl for being stupid, not getting another job. So he was massively talking about every single person who didn't get a job right away, then they were stupid automatically. And that was getting people upset. And they're like, why? You were not upset about the fact that someone was called fatty. But now when it's personalized and when you are in the same position, now you feel something to say. Okay, he hit the nerve. Then we have lipstick lesbians. At first they tried this rage bait content. When people were not happy with their launch and with amplified powders, and especially that you cannot sanitize, it rips off, it was super expensive, they tried to make sure that they can rage bait and gain more traction. But people were like, we paid over $32 or $34 for that without even packaging, and now you're laughing at our faces. The economy is shitty. We don't have money to waste, and now you're getting us this type of product for this money? We're not going to talk about that. And lipstick lesbians, they hit the nerve when we talked about sexuality in the State of the Union, and it hit even more nerve, like, how dare you? Then they tried a safe option, crying at the airport with no makeup, with like, gray hoodies. This was almost gray hoodies. This was like straight from the book of influencer apology. And again, didn't work. Why? Because it still didn't solve an issue. People spend a lot of money and they didn't get answers. They try to calm down and wait this out. They try to wait out the cycle of TikTok, like 14 days. People are going to forget about that. But people didn't forget. They didn't. And now they were like, okay, what do we do now? We tried to cry. We tried to be aggressive and then talk about word salad. What do we do next? So next, what they try to say is like, we want to push onto the fact that we're lesbians in the last video and that our love is controversial, and it was controversial. So there's all sorts of manipulations, all sorts of different types of just try to forgive us. But people are not forgiven, and they're unsubscribing and they're not unfollowing. James Charles lost 450,000 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. And lipstick lesbians, they lost over 100,000 subscribers. People are pissed. They losing money. And now influencers start losing money. Then we're going to Michaela Nogueira. She is still getting a lot of views. She rage baits people, but then she tried to cry in January and try to say that she was sorry for something that happened because of an angel tree, because of some large like luxury haul, whatever. And people were not unsubscribing. People were still subscribing. And Michaela is still in in a pretty safe space, but we don't really know. Today, you're still working in this field and you're on top of this game, and tomorrow you're like a lipstick lesbian brand or like Lip Labs or James Charles. They try their best to make it look better, but still they're losing subscribers. And now let's talk about the controversy that happened with Patrick Ta. Patrick Ta tried to launch a couple of weeks ago, probably over a month ago, he tried to launch his new product. They were like, okay, we like your products, it's more about luxury brand. And then they tried these new products and they're like, this is scam. This is a real scam. And it wasn't a real pink concealer with a real pink powder. It was more like a powder that's gonna prepare your skin for real makeup, and you had to pay over $100 for the entire set. And people were pissed. They're like, why would I pay for something that makes no sense? I mean, I can do my makeup right away, or I can buy some useless products that are not going to do anything to me. And then a lot of the times people were criticizing Patrick Ta for the blush duo or the sunset blush that was created by another makeup artist from Great Britain, if I'm mistaken. But Patrick Ta tried to not only capitalize from that, but he even patented this technology, which is not his technology in general. I know that it's a standard practice because who patents this first that owns this process. But again, the problem was with makeup artist that was neglected in work, and that this was a woman of color that for years was facing some neglection, and that is the main reason why people were pissed, and they're still pissed. That is showing how the economy is making people turn on their critical thinking. And not only economy, but such commentary videos on YouTube. People are going back on YouTube to watch content that is making them think again without of just like scroll. I'm gonna be honest, I can't watch TikTok longer than, I don't know, like 20 or 30 minutes, because I feel like my brain is literally turning off. You're scrolling and scrolling, and the content is not even relevant. Most of the time, it's going to be some stupid thing that it's not going to even teach you anything. And there's going to be a beautiful, aesthetically pleasant video with a cinnamon bun or with lasagna or anything like this. But the recipe, you can get a recipe. Either it's going to be a recipe that you have to pay for and you don't even know if it's a good one, or it's going to be the recipe that is hidden somewhere, or you have to go through the link, or they have a YouTube video that you have to watch. Maybe TikTok is great for exposure, but at the same time, I mean, like, it's not really giving you the real information. You would go on YouTube and watch a full video how to do something if you have no idea how to do this. And channels like Kiki Channel and Hannah Alonso, they have a commentary videos about TikTok. Hannah Alonso, she was doing MLM content for a long period of time, and she said that she couldn't hit 100,000 subscriber mark for a long period of time. And when she started doing TikTok videos about insanity of influencers, her channel skyrocketed. And she realized in a month that people just wanted to know that they're not going crazy, and someone is supporting their idea that influencers, they're out of touch. And Kiki, she's always focusing on overconsumption and the fact that these influencers, they're trying to sell you something that you don't need. You don't really need this. But because of these channels, because of these commentary channels, you can get an idea that you're not going crazy and your mind is totally okay. We're not permanently going stupid. Let's make it clear. I'm going to try to answer the question that I asked right at the beginning of this podcast. We're not getting stupid altogether. What we have to do is to stop scrolling, or scroll TikTok for 20, 30 minutes, make it a time limit, and you're good to go. And then watch some content, long form content, or even just read a book, talk to your friend, and try to discuss that maybe I don't need all of these products that I was suggested. Because when, like Lipstick Lesbians, they came out with amplified powders, I feel like it was designed to create some product that people are like, they're not critically thinking. Okay, yeah, we realize that in psychology studies to show this, you're not critically thinking when you're buying this type of product. And they did not expect that people are going to ask for a refund. People are going to watch commentary videos on YouTube, and where people are going to say, this is not a good product. This is not. It's just not. And even TikTok, they ate them alive. I mean, like, even TikTok said that this is a stupid product. And you have to, get back to your critical thinking and say, yeah, this is probably not a good product. And then Patrick Ta, yeah, this is also not a good product, because why do I need a concealer that has no color? Why do I need a powder that has no color to prepare me for more makeup? Why? And spend like $100? I don't have money to spend on groceries. Why would I buy a concealer, let alone this setting powder that doesn't set anything? That is the main reason why I don't really think TikTok made our generation permanently stupid, but I feel like this is a decay of TikTok and a realization that TikTok is not going to rule forever, as well as YouTube, as well as Instagram, and maybe there's going to be another app soon enough, as it always appears to be, but we're going to see what they're going to be up to. But, home shopping, TikTok, you nailed it. You literally created home shopping with parasocial friendship. And if you're interested in parasocial friendship, and if you're interested in white label of other influencers, what is white label? I'm going to leave the links down in the description box where I'm diving deeper into these topics. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video, in my next podcast. It's fine with me. Bye-bye.